Hello, welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I want to talk about 3D optical illusions. You might have seen something like this on internet or in real life. You have seen like a mural, and it could be like a mural on a wall, or could be like an artwork on the floor. That's basically if you're standing at the right positions, it's gonna look 3D. So this is one example where we have like Suzanne is kind of sitting inside this box, and you look at it from this angle. If you're in this position, it looks like Suzanne is looking down, but if you're looking from different angle, it looks wrong. So it's as you can already tell, the technique is basically involving some kind of projections. I talked about this in the past actually. If I'm not wrong, I did have a tutorial on this from 2012. So Suzanne 3D eye tricked, and I think it's about time for me to upgrade the technique. In this case, Suzanne is kind of sitting on the floor. You can create such effects today using AR, but the 2D version is still actually kind of interesting, especially the ones it's the mural that's kind of simulating 3D objects inside the wall. Yeah, so the graffiti one is quite popular. So if you look at the corner, so you can pick any kind of corner and then you try to create like a 3D, and you try to blend the 3D into the wall. So it's almost like the wall have some kind of hole inside it. There's a lot of really interesting example. In this case, okay, it's using this is using the corner of the wall. This is the floor 3D illusions. This one is also pretty cool. It's from this side, it looks like it's something coming out of the wall. So it needs to involve some kind of corner, and the more recent one is like the one in Shinjuku, Tokyo, or the one, I think this one is somewhere in Korea or China. I forgot, but the one in Tokyo, Shinjuku, I've seen a lot of example, and I look at this LED wall that's kind of rounded here, but it's trying to recreate the corner of this building. So from this angle of the section of the traffic light, it looks like a 3D cat is about to jump over. So you can recreate that kind of setup pretty easily. So I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, so I will use, actually for simplicity, I will use this default cube and I will put Suzanne inside it, but you can put any objects. So let's do this projection. Okay, we want to put Suzanne. So the fastest way, if we select the default cube at its default size, go to edit mode, go to face, select this face, and then delete using X, face only. From that cube, now we can solidify and increase the thickness. You can keep it like this, like very arty, but maybe you want to have like even thickness in this case. So imagine this, you have like a building, and you want on that corner of building, as an example, we want to put Suzanne, and we're gonna look at it from the bottom part. And this will be animating. Oh no, in this case, for this example, it's gonna be static. I like a hard edge Suzanne, so I'm gonna use bevel and then just subdivide it. The cool thing about this effect is that we are recreating like a 3D optical illusions, right? So it's as if this is like a 3D, but we want to later like just simply project it into another default cube. All right, so we need to pick a camera actually. So we need to have camera and then lock the camera. So let's give this Suzanne color. And maybe the box. Okay, Suzanne's gonna be purple, and this box, maybe just give it like a checker pattern. Yeah, it's super basic, but you're gonna get the idea. Yeah, maybe something like that. So we're gonna try to recreate the illusions and reproject the image later on. It might need to have light, so it's gonna be better, always better with light and shadows. Let's use the EV, maybe even ambient occlusions. I don't know, we're gonna render it using EV or cycles. Which one you like? Give it a bit of light color. If there is like a hard shadow, maybe this is gonna look even more 3D. But we're gonna project it from this angle and this angle and the bottom angle. It's gonna be the LED. Actually, the LED might be only from these two angles, from this corner, okay? All right, so hopefully this is gonna be very understandable. The default cube is still the same. Imagine that's like the LED screen that you are recreating, and you're gonna render it from this angle. Shift A, create a camera, view, align active camera to view. So we're gonna try to render from this angle. Can go to view camera. So this is our viewer angle to get a 3D. Okay, if we render this using cycles, we're gonna get that. Let's use maximum sample of just 20, and we're gonna render it from this angle. Okay, we're gonna lock the camera. If it doesn't make sense at this point, that's okay. We're gonna render it anyway and then save it on the desktop. 4, 5, 6. Okay, I should have just picked a sample of 10 or something. So the idea is from this camera, we're gonna reproject it into, we're gonna reproject this into the default cube. Okay, image, save as, Suzanne, render, projection. So camera projection mapping. Okay, so that's the, I think that's the term. Now we want to save this blend. We want to select our camera and then create, and let's use this background image. Just grab that image that we just saved, this, and now with our objects over here, we can move it into collections, tap M, new collections. If we hide everything and look, because we have camera and we have, with our camera we have this background image, we actually have the image kind of like ghostly being projected into the scenes, right? Now let's create another cube, and this is our LED. Currently it's dark, there's nothing on it, but we can paint, we can project our image. So select our default cube, go into, let's create a material, let's go into the texture paint. It's becoming pink because we don't have material. So let's create a texture for the base color, and we're gonna project our image into this guy. All right, so yeah, I think the trick here is to use external image projections. It's kind of hidden under texture paint, under all this brush settings, under options. There is this external. Let's make this like 2048 and just do a quick edit. The quick edit will screen grab the image from Blender, and we can reproject something into this guy. So this guy is actually inside a Finder folder under download, if I'm not wrong. Oh, actually it might be on the desktop. Yeah, it's actually on the desktop. And in my case, because I am using Mac, I don't have Photoshop, I'm using Affinity Photos. What we are trying to do is to reproject this render into this guy. So Affinity Photos still opening. Yeah, okay. Now we have our image. File, place, Suzanne render, projections. Hopefully this match. Okay, the size is different, but I can just scale it. It needs to be actually the exact placement and size. Somehow it doesn't have snapping, but I just eyeball it and save as flatten. If you get back to go back to Blender, just hit apply. Yeah, or just apply camera. I think apply camera image will give you the same result. Yeah. And maybe in this case we don't need specularity. If we go out of the camera, you can see our LED screen. If someone's walking, if this is like a large size building, someone's walking here, okay, it doesn't look right. But from this angle, it looks like as if Suzanne is over there. So the next thing you want to do is perhaps, okay, don't forget to save the projections. Actually, it's not saved by default. Yeah, okay, this is the material. Save as base color projection. You should save it into a folder, but anyhow, this is the projected image checkered. If you use checkered pattern, you know, yeah, this is the original. This is Suzanne. Mix color, mix RGB, right? We can blend the two or use the alpha. Okay, this image doesn't have alpha channel. Okay, so in that case, we can, since this is just our LED, is just these two screen, this guy, the rest of the side of the cube can use a different material. think that's the idea anyway. So from this angle, from the camera angle, if I tap 0, you can see that Suzanne's still there. If you rotate it, you can see it's moving. We create the 3D illusions. Okay, that's with Suzanne and with the default cube, but you get the idea, and hopefully you learn something. So that's one way you can do like projection mapping. There is another way that's involving slightly trickier, probably more correct way to do like projection mapping. There's also add-on that's dealing with this. If you want to animate this, turning it into video texture, and then you want to apply it into real building, that's another thing. But yeah, I found this kind of interesting exercise, because it's create like a 3D illusions. So if you have like a room, like a real room that you can scan, and you want to do like projection mapping into the room, you can use this technique. At least, okay, this is just the basic. So you can create similar thing using AR. AR is actually the illusions with AR. AR is like a 3D objects that you put virtually in real world into like physical world, right? But the most interesting part is when AR is actually occluding with real physical world. So if it's creating a hole or like a ring, kind of like an illusion of hole, and then you can put like a 3D objects coming out, that's when the magic illusion is actually happening. So anyway, that's the whole technique. Hopefully I clearly explain it. If you want to look at the old articles, I might need to update it. You can go to my blog. This is really old. Similar techniques, just and different UI back then with Blender 2.5, I believe. So yeah, now we can do it with Blender 3.4. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.